With veterans gathering at the nation's monuments to honor those who've served, the VA today announced sweeping plans to better serve them in the wake of a system-wide scandal over falsified records and delayed care.
To celebrate Veterans Day is truly something of a misnomer. We may celebrate the people who gave their time and lives, but there is little for them to celebrate save for being alive, being home, and being cared for as their country promised. This and so much more as we welcome to MidPoint former Navy SEAL, 8 years surviving in some of the most dangerous situations, author of the book Battle on the Home Front, a Navy SEAL's mission to save the American dream. Carl Higbie joins us today. Carl, thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me, Ed.
Right from the top, let me say thank you very much for your service. And by the way, do you ever get tired of having complete strangers come up to you and just say that when they find out you served?
Well, it's just another job, and that's what we look at it as. We were just normal guys that did something that some other people just don't do.
Is it truly, though, a job when you think about it? I realize to you guys it just seems that way because you go to work, you put the pants on, you put the uniform on, and you go out there and you're told what to do. But when you come home and then you look back at what it was and what you did, does it still feel like just a job?
Yeah, it's a job that you get to take a lot of pride in.
What kind of pride are you able to take now, knowing full well that the VA and the way that they have treated you and a lot of your fellow soldiers and coming home in what many would describe as simply a despicable manner?
I can tell you, I dealt with the VA myself. I'm a disabled veteran. And from injuries I sustained while in combat and dealing with them, it took 2 years just to get a response back. I had to write a letter to my congressman here in Connecticut just to get them to write back to me. It's a travesty, and they have this new guy taking over now, and I can't remember his name, but he says he's got a long road ahead of him. You're darn right he does.
Robert McDonald is his name. Robert McDonald. He said they've taken disciplinary action against 5,600 employees in the last year, and he says more firings will soon follow. What does that tell you, though, as a veteran, about the depth and the breadth of the individuals here who really couldn't care less about taking care of the veterans when they came home?
I know, and they also used to boast that a lot of their employees were veterans. So I can't imagine how fellow veterans feel about hanging their brothers out to dry, their brothers and sisters out to dry. I think the process is so skewed as well. It's left up to the interpretation of some low-level bureaucrat to make a decision on something that potentially could affect someone's future and life.
How do you feel the care was when you came home? The first time you stepped in, did you feel as if you were getting professional care, the best care possible?
Absolutely not. I had surgery actually on a very minor surgery, and I was actually ordered to have the surgery. It was elected. I talked to a private physician. He says, you don't need it. You can have it if you want it. And I elected not to have it, and they ordered me to have it. And subsequently, I've had issues from the actual surgery that were worse than the injury itself.
Is this something, and I know that there's a lot of people out there, and you need to look at the guy who's now in charge, Barack Obama. Right. And they will always say that the buck stops with the president. But is it not fair to say that this is a systemic failure that couldn't have just happened in the last few years? This has been going on for decades. I have friends of mine who've been fighting against the VA now for 15 years.
Yeah, and there's records of them shredding service members' records, saying that we're not going to pursue this because it's too backlogged, and we're just going to dump it off and hope that it goes away. Like I said, I've had a number of friends also who've come home. A fellow of mine, he got hit by an IED. He had a piece of copper the size of a golf ball stuck in his leg, and the VA missed it. The VA left it in there, and he lost his leg subsequently.
How much of this, in your opinion, then falls on the current president?
I think you need to have proper oversight. And I've said in my book that we need to start running our government and our military like a business. And the way you do that is through accountability and through incentivizing people to succeed. Our president has shown no accountability in almost anything he's done, and everything, just like after the November elections, it wasn't a talk of, okay, I see that you've rejected my policies, I will change them. It's, well, people just aren't understanding them well enough. I mean, that's the tip of the spear, and there's no accountability there.
And we got about 30 seconds. We'll take a break, come back. But a couple of months ago, you said on Newsmax that morale in the military is terrible right now. Gotten any better?
No, not from the people I've spoken to. They are excited about the new change in the Senate and obviously our increased majority in Congress or in the House. But for overall, it's going to take a massive overhaul of some of our serious leaders. I mean, Obama pushed out everybody who was opposing him in the upper echelon. So now we have to breed new leaders and not send pink slips to combat veterans who are coming home. We need to keep them in so they can reinvent the wheel here and fix the military.
All right, stand by. Breaking back with former Navy SEAL Carl Higbie and a focus on the never-ending war against Muslim terrorists. And at 43 minutes after the hour, a very special interview with a veteran who has a new best friend. He's come home and he needs a buddy. We have he and the buddy are going to join us. It will be unlike any interview you've ever seen before. Stay with us. MidPoint continues.